It's all of our pleasure to be supporting Congressmember Eric Swalwell, who I'm honored to call a friend. Thankful and grateful is our congressmember fighting for us here in the East Bay. And long ago, someone reached out to me and said, "Do you know Eric Swalwell? He's running for Dublin City Council, and he's going to do big things." And we all knew that he was, and we all have seen that he has. And we've shared time on the campaign trail. For a couple years. In 2010, I ran for Alameda City Council while he ran for City Council, and then 2 years later, we both made the very aggressive decisions to run for Congressmember. Eric Swalwell and me for Assembly. We were both fortunately successful, and proud to call him a friend. We've done a soccer fundraiser for the building trades to provide opportunity for folks impacted by the criminal justice system to transform their lives. And the things that Eric has done, I felt close to him before he got elected to Congress, and I felt a lot closer to him because he was in my living room every night on TV. And I'm like, God, I just feel so tight with Eric. He's always saying, "We gotta get you a better cable package." Eric says, "I've got to get me a better cable package." But I was liking my cable package with Eric Swalwell featured regularly. But thankful that he was literally always saying the right things, smart things, thoughtful things leading with his heart, his values, always with the American people in mind, and moving our interests forward and fighting for us. And that's what you want in elected office: someone who's thoughtful, someone who's aggressive, someone who will fight for you, someone who will lead with their heart and their values. And whether it be taking on gun violence, the gun violence epidemic in the United States of America, or making sure we have voting rights, or making sure we have national security, fighting for reproductive freedom, you name it, on every one of the big issues, Eric has led. And he's led in a way that I'm very proud of, always transparent, and of course, always transparent, always open, always explains his decisions, very active on social media. I gotta say, I have some Twitter envy for Eric Swalwell's Twitter account. He's got quite a few followers, and he's really inspired our young people, the millennials, to rise up and be active and get engaged in our democratic system. So if we had more leaders in Congress and throughout our nation like Eric Swalwell, we'd all be better off, but we're thankful to have him as the Congressmember representing us. Thank you that Joe has always, this is an annual fundraiser, right, that you host for him? 9th annual fundraiser for Eric Swalwell right here at Joe Jahal's house. And so it's my honor to introduce our friend, our leader in Congress, the man of the hour, Congressmember Eric Swalwell.
Hello everyone, we have the Congressman from District 15, Eric Swalwell, right here with us in Pleasanton. Welcome to YoIndiaTV with me, Justine Khanuja.
Thank you for having me back on. Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me back on. Always a pleasure.
So, you are the Congressman since 2013, and you're also on the steering committee for the Democrats that makes policies and everything. So you're co-chairing it since 2017, and I guess that's a very, very big thing to represent Democrats at the national level, besides representing our district at the House. So what's your overall take on your responsibilities and what's new?
Yeah, most importantly, we have to make sure that our country addresses this pandemic. Right now, until we get the country vaccinated, we will not fully reopen the economy. Kids will not fully be able to learn in schools. Main streets and churches and synagogues and gurdwaras will not be able to be fully open. So my top priority is the health of the country. So funding vaccination efforts and defeating the continued lies from radical Republicans that convince people not to get vaccinated. That's got to be our top priority right now. So that is where all of my energy is.
And do you see any hindrances so far?
Yes, the lies from the Republican Party about vaccines is literally killing people. The unvaccinated rate in this country is allowing mutations to continue to form that puts all of our kids at risk, particularly children who cannot get vaccinated. And so Right now, we have to, again, just make sure we educate the public and put in place requirements. I, for one, believe that you should not be able to get on an airplane unless you are vaccinated. And I don't think Joe Biden can do enough to try and really incentivize people to get vaccinated, because we're not going to get back to life as usual. We're not going to see these masks come off until we have everyone vaccinated, and that's my top priority.
Some of us, our nature is to think in the macro, and that because of that, you want to just fix it all, and when you can't, it's disappointing. And that when we think about that person in front of us in the micro, that's 1 foot forward, one step at a time. But we need the macro too. What I'm so honored about being here tonight is that as badly as actors from Hollywood saying what they think can be disparaged, how easily that can happen. We're such a culture of doing it to our leaders in office. And so we've all been in that conversation where we worry with all of the way that people are treated with skepticism and cynicism who try to offer public service. Are good men and women still going to go there? Are they still going to represent us? Because we need them to. And that particular courage is exemplified so beautifully by Congressman Swalwell, whose genuineness, his intelligence, and his courage is just right out front. It's easy to see and touch and be touched by. So mostly I want to say thank you to you, all the people of service, and all of those who have supported the Congressman and will continue to support the Congressman. But as we know, it's got to go beyond a beautiful backyard. And we have a lot of work to do because our country deserves it. And we're lucky to have Congressman Eric Swalwell. So thank you for having me.
In the recent happenings, we see a lot of chaos that has again happened in Afghanistan. A number of our soldiers have lost their lives. It's a full circle back. We sent our people to Iraq. They fought, and many of them lost their lives. Then we were able to drive our forces into Pakistan and Afghanistan. We were able to kill Osama, and once again we are withdrawing our forces, but with a great loss of human life again. What's your overall take on this international situation?
Well, the mission in Afghanistan is complete, and you're right. Many terrorists were taken off the battlefield. Right now, Afghanistan is not an operating base for Al-Qaeda. Osama bin Laden has been killed, and so has his senior leadership network. And so when I look at my children and the children in my district, I think when they go into military service, if they choose to do that 20 years from now, should they be serving in Afghanistan? And the answer to me is no. We've trained and equipped their forces, and their forces showed that they were not able to defend the country. And so I would hate to see our kids have to defend a country that Afghan forces are not able to defend. It's a civil conflict within the country. We should continue from an international perspective with our allies, insist upon human rights be afforded to every Afghan citizen, but a permanent presence there for another 20 years to me is just not acceptable.
A Marine who served in Afghanistan and brought to my office an interpreter who had helped him serve and who our office had helped get his family over to the United States, and who I took in 2015 as my guest to the State of the Union. And another individual who just 2 weeks ago was in Kabul, a special immigrant visa recipient himself for the work he did as an interpreter. And he and I were in WhatsApp contact for weeks, trying to get as many people as we could to the gate at the Hamad Karzai International Airport, across the gate to our airport, over to Qatar and to the United States. We had more failures than we had successes, but we still work every day as a country that's compassionate and diverse to believe that we owe those soldiers who served us, and we have an obligation to get them to safe harbor here in the United States.
So today we are at the house of Joe Johal, who is the newly elected secretary of APAPA that fights the Asian crime and the crime against and the hatred, in fact, against the Pacific Islander community right here in the United States. So first of all, big congratulations on your new position. How's the feel?
Thank you, Jasleen. And we just had our 20th anniversary yesterday, and we had over 500 folks there in Tendy. And sorry, Eric couldn't be there. He was actually back in D.C. But it's a journey, and we need to make sure, as Asian Americans or Pacific Islanders, we are educating our the constituents and the folks that live in our communities to make sure what their responsibilities are. It's a two-way street. Education doesn't have only work one way. So we want to make sure, and the whole mission for APAPA is to empower, engage, and educate. And it all starts with making sure that you have the right pieces in place and right leaders who are doing the work what it takes. It's real easy to come and work every day, go to work and do what you need to do. But civic responsibility is our responsibility. We just need to make sure that we educate ourselves and educate our communities and get involved and give back. And that's what APAPA's mission and the vision is.
Wonderful. And what steps you as a congressman are taking forward so that the Asian hate is taken care of?
Yeah, well, I'm so proud of Joe Johal being elected as secretary of the National APAPA Board. It really reflects his longtime commitment to making sure that the community is not only seen but also heard and at the table as decisions are made. So Joe, congratulations. I was a hate crimes prosecutor in Alameda County, and so I know that even in one of the most tolerant communities in the world that we still have hate, and we've seen that with COVID-19. And so, I've sponsored legislation and support legislation that would, tighten up the hate crime legislation, and also make sure that our Department of Justice and the FBI are working to root out and prosecute anyone that would commit, hate crimes against people because of their religion or ethnicity.
CCN is the person who started the organization as far as the Asian Pacific Islanders American Affairs Organization, and CC, thank you for everything you do. We're here for the good guy here, that Eric Swalwell. Of course, I'm one of the believers, and I'm a fan of Eric and Joe especially. Like I said, it's very proud to be the home, beautiful home of American dream. We wanted to every Asian Americans to have a home like this in the next 10 years. Well, Eric will help us out. Oh, his friend, Sean, will help us out. Okay, buy a book. Yeah. Buy the book. Yeah. Buy the book. Yeah.
Wonderful. And today you have invited not just Eric Swalwell, and the whole event is in support of Eric Swalwell, and we also have the leading Hollywood actor Sean Penn on the campus. So how did you plan all of this, and what's the objective?
Well, the objectives are always for Eric, to make sure that he is so engaged in our community to get as many people here as possible. So we reach out to all our friends and invite. Our list is always wide. We go as wide as we can, and at the end of the day, because of the schedule conflicts and other things that come up, and the ones who are able to be here, they're here, and we do this every year, and it's a 9th annual, and we'll hopefully be doing this for another 50 years, because Eric's planning to stay there forever.
Let me just say, as we wrap up, we chose Sean Penn because of his work in this pandemic. Through his organization, CORE, Community-Oriented Response, what he has done is he's gone into communities across the world to make sure that we get people tested, and then once a vaccine was available, get people vaccinated. And his work in Hollywood's important. It's for the arts, which is very important. But I think the work in his community in the world just defines who he is, and we wanted to honor that in our very diverse community that has benefited from his work.
Wonderful. So any message to the viewers on this occasion?
Well, just really, I think, just make sure you guys, everyone, please get involved. One, make sure you register to vote. And secondly, we are looking at, if you look at the last census we just had, the Asian community was the fastest growing in the nation. From 2010 to 2020, we grew I think we almost doubled in the last 20 years. That number is huge. So we're looking at 24 million people, so we need to make sure you guys get out, register to vote, and vote and do your part. That's all you need to do. Thank you.
Wonderful. And any short-term objectives you want to achieve that you want to talk about to the viewers?
Most importantly, get vaccinated. The sooner everyone's vaccinated, the sooner we're back to normal and we can truly thrive. So thank you.
Thank you so much.